When it comes to the classic dishes, there is almost always a trade-off between fast, easy, and perfect, but not with shrimp scampi. The peak versions of this delicious classic are both fast and easy. So today, not only are we gonna make a beautiful shrimp scampi that also happens to be incredibly low effort, but because the sauce that powers its flavors has remarkably few ingredients, we're also gonna talk about the incredibly useful seasoning techniques that you can use to not only make this the most delicious shrimp scampi you'll ever eat, but also to make literally anything that you cook that much more delicious. We're gonna talk about how to make these simple ingredients and use them to make mind-bending flavors in just a moment, but first let's cover the literal 2 minutes of prep that are needed. It will creep up on you just how fast this thing cooks, so it's important to gather all of your ingredients before you start. Almost every shrimp you'll buy has at some point been frozen, so I would strongly recommend that you buy stuff that is still frozen. And the fastest way to thaw anything is to just put it into a container full of cold water and optionally leave the water running. You'll be amazed just how fast things will thaw with this method, and shrimp doesn't even need to be put into a bag. Take a medium to large shallot, peel it and slice it thin. Also peel a couple of garlic cloves and slice them up. Grab 3 or 4 sprigs of parsley, bundle the leaf part up, and chop down until you get to just stem. In the restaurants I came up in, we picked every leaf or pluche or frond off of every herb before doing anything else. And maybe I've just finally liberated myself from the millimeter rulers, but with soft herbs like parsley, there is so much more flavor in the upper stems. So most of the time these days, I just chop everything up. Strain out the thawed shrimp and put them into a bowl to pat them dry. This part is optional, but a marinade only takes extra time, no extra work, and I think it is more than worth it. Add the sliced shallots and garlic into the bowl, along with the zest of half of a lemon and a little bit of olive oil to distribute the delicious flavors. I let this sit for 30 minutes. The shrimp is gonna pull in a tremendous amount of flavor and aroma, and the shallots and garlic pull in some of that amazing subtle shrimp flavor as well. That said, even 5 minutes in this marinade will lead to a more flavorful dish. Once you're ready, take the shrimp out of the marinade and season them lightly with salt on both sides. Heat a pan over high until a pour of olive oil is lightly smoking and add in all of the shrimp. Personally, I will always trade 1 good sear side for 2 mediocre ones. So let this go until you have a nice golden brown crust and give them a flip to just finish cooking them on the other side. Put them onto your seasoning plate and then set them aside. Set the pan back over medium heat and add everything from the marinade bowl. This is instantly gonna bomb your kitchen with an incredible shallot and zesty lemon smell. The beautiful brown bits that are stuck on your pan will start to be lifted into the shallots as they soften, so let everything cook while occasionally stirring until it's soft and the garlic is starting to very lightly brown. Pour in 100 milliliters of dry white wine. Feel free to use that bottle that's been maybe sitting in the back of your fridge for a week. Personally, I had a little bit of Gruner, which has an incredible bright, almost peppery flavor and worked perfectly with this scampi. That said, any dry white wine will do the job. Cook this over high heat to reduce the wine down until it's mostly evaporated. Add 50 milliliters of heavy cream and keep cooking the sauce for about a minute until it comes together. Then I turned the heat off and added the cooked shrimp as well as all of the chopped parsley. Squeeze in the juice of an entire lemon and season it lightly with salt to taste. There's a traditional triad of seasoning: salt, acid, and fat, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. And it is a simple way to understand how to season food. When I walked into the first professional kitchen that I worked in, I was astonished at how incredibly flavorful everything was. And the reason isn't magic or just great ingredients or even recipes. The trick is adding more of all of the seasoning components in balance. It is easily the best way to make food more and more flavorful. So don't get me wrong, if all you know about seasoning is the triad, you're in great company and you will be able to make incredibly delicious food. But salt, acid, and fat is an oversimplified take on seasoning because there are many other things that can balance the way a dish tastes. In the case of this scampi, it has a tremendous amount of acidity from the wine and the lemon juice. And if you're seasoning based on the triad, you're gonna have to add a huge amount of cream and salt to balance against that brightness, which will instantly create a cream-soaked 1,000-calorie beast. Which is why old school restaurant foods can easily become incredibly high in fats very quickly. It's the easiest way to make food more delicious. But thankfully, there is something else in this sauce that creates incredible flavor and balance with the high acid components. And that, my friends, are these shallots. You might have noticed just how much shallot goes into this recipe, and it's not an accident. Because beyond being incredibly delicious and aromatic, shallots also bring a fantastic sweetness to anything you cook them in. Sweet and sour is something we're all familiar with because it's an incredibly satisfying combination. So with this scampi, I'm relying heavily on the large amount of shallots, which brings the perfect level of sweetness to the finished plate and lets you bump up the acidity enough to truly make a mind-bendingly bright and delicious, but still perfectly balanced sauce without needing to run a 5K afterwards. It's a great trick and I cannot recommend it enough. Linguine, fettuccine, or in my case, spaghetti. Pick your weapon and boil it according to the package instructions minus about a minute. I'm using this pasta strainer because it lets me easily transfer some of the cooking liquid, but if you're boiling it straight in a pot, make sure to set aside some of the starchy pasta water. Once the pasta is strained, add it to your scampi along with a good pour of the pasta cooking liquid and cook everything for the final minute to thicken it and pull all of those delicious flavors into the noodles themselves. Drop it onto a plate or into a bowl, give it a heavy dusting of freshly grated Parmesan, the rest of the lemon's zest, and of course, chili flake. The standard chili flake is a fantastic way to add heat and up the ante on almost anything. But those big pieces can be less than ideal, so one of my favorite things to do is to pour a standard chili flake into a spice grinder and grind it into a fine powder, which will work fantastically anywhere you need chili flake or honestly to add heat for anything. Just don't shove your face over the blender while it's spinning. This pasta was spectacular. I finished the cooking section of this video at like 10:30 a.m., which is usually long before I start eating for the day, but I could not resist demolishing this, although I did save some for Mrs. Gaffney. Honestly, the only thing that I think could improve this is cooking some mussels into it for that briny mussel liquor in the sauce. But anyway, that is all for me on this one. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.